So far, we've only looked at terrestrial crackheads, like all the creatures from the mustelid family. But today, it's time to dive into the water. So here are 8 batshit crazy fish that easily matches the attitude of the ball-biting honey badger. And the first little fishy on my list is the moray eel. This is probably one of the most overpowered predators of the deep. They got so many broken buffs that it's literally unfair to all the other fishes. First off, these mucus goblins have 2 goddamn sets of mouths, one for grabbing prey and another smaller mouth that shoots out and literally starts feeding mid-battle. Pretty much exactly like in those alien movies, as they actually had a direct influence in their prop designs. And unfortunately, for all its neighbors, the moray eel is a dirty camper which excels in ambushing. These coral trolls will hide among rocks and crevices, waiting for the right moment to lunge out into an all-out aquatic brawl. And when they first get their jaw clamped down on something, they never let go. And just like crocodiles, they too utilize the infamous death roll move, which is absolutely devastating. Curious divers have even lost goddamn fingers to these underwater snakes. They don't care if you're prey, predator, or just a tourist with a GoPro. Their entire philosophy is to attack first and ask absolutely no questions after. So moray eels truly do embody the infamous crackhead energy of the honey badger. Next up, we got Nemo's worst nightmare, namely the barracuda. Now, this is pretty much an underwater torpedo with teeth. They can reach over 25 miles per hour, armed with razor-sharp fangs that can easily slice through bone and are even known to snap metal fishing lines. These predators are also autopilot psychos, as they are extremely instinct-driven and will attack anything that moves without thinking anything through, which is why they have often gone aggro on divers, simply because they saw some shiny jewelry reflecting in the sun. Their hunting strat is also rather sinister. They will simply lurk motionless for hours before suddenly charging at an incredible speed. Prey usually doesn't even realize what's happened before getting swallowed in bite-sized sashimi pieces. And while these giants are usually kind of chill with humans, they do have a rather disturbing portfolio of completely unprovoked attacks, seemingly attacking for no reason at all. Another creature known for complete unprovoked attacks on humans is the testo-fueled bull shark. These things are basically the gym bros of the ocean. Short, stocky, and always looking for a fight. They've got one of the strongest bite forces of any shark, more than enough to crunch through bone like it's a breadstick. And unlike great whites, which sometimes do a polite test bite, bull sharks don't play games. When they go in, they commit. What makes them really terrifying is their range. Most sharks are stuck in the ocean, but not these psychos. You see, bull sharks can actually regulate the salt in their blood, which means they'll happily cruise up rivers and even hang out in lakes. There are reports of bull sharks showing up all over the place, including the Mississippi, Amazon, and even in Australian golf course ponds. So if you're standing near murky water, you might be sharing it with a freaky shark. When it comes to attacks, they're absolute menaces too. Bull sharks are behind over 100 confirmed human attacks, and experts believe the real number is much higher. They've been caught going after swimmers, fishermen, and even pets like dogs splashing near shorelines. In some regions, they've even taken livestock drinking at the water's edge. Pretty much anything that moves is fair game. With their aggression, strength, and total lack of patience, bull sharks are probably the closest thing we get to a honey badger with fins. The fourth fish on our list is one you're probably familiar with, the common carp. You might not expect to see this fat, lazy pond fish in a lineup of such disastrous creatures, but just stick with me for a while here. You see, carp are actually one of the most destructive invaders on the planet. Instead of nibbling politely, they plow through riverbeds like heckin' bulldozers, churning mud, ripping out plants, and turning clear water into goddamn chocolate milk. This kills vegetation, smothers eggs, and wrecks entire ecosystems in the matter of months. And they do it everywhere. As they've been introduced worldwide, carp dominate some lakes so badly that they make up over 90% of the biomass. A single female can produce over 1 million eggs a year, so once they're in, you're not getting rid of them. They may not have shark teeth or anything cool like that, but they conquer through sheer numbers and chaos. Carp are elite squatters of the fish world and pretty much impossible to evict. Now, fifth on our list, we got the triggerfish. This is a reef tenant with serious anger issues. With such a beautiful smile, these little guys might not look all that terrifying, but they're infamous for attacking anything that comes near their nest. Divers, turtles, and even sharks Their bite is designed to crush coral, and they can hold one hell of a grudge if you rub them the wrong way. What really makes them dangerous is their no-fear attitude. Triggerfish will charge head-on, chasing intruders halfway across the reef just to prove a point. It doesn't matter if you're 10 times their size, they'll still square up and teach you a fishy lesson. They're basically the Karen of the reef. Loud, aggressive, and absolutely convinced they own the entire reef. Now, no list of unhinged fish is complete without the piranha. These little razor-mouthed psychos have been terrorizing rivers and Hollywood movies for decades. But unlike the movie swarms that skeletonize cows in seconds, real piranhas are more like opportunistic street thugs. First off, their teeth are basically biological scissors. They can slice through flesh and bone like it's nothing, and when they bite, they take clean chunks out with ease. Individually, they're not so bad. But the second there's blood or splashing in the water, the pack mentality kicks in, and suddenly you've got dozens of them rushing in for a feeding frenzy. And it's not just prey animals that have to worry. Fishermen, swimmers, even pets have all been on the receiving end of a bad day with piranhas. They thrive on chaos. They mob anything that looks vulnerable, and they'll strip a fish down to the bones with terrifying efficiency. They are basically aquatic goons of the Amazon River, small, vicious, and lethal in numbers. The next river monster on the list is the arapaima, a fish so big and prehistoric looking, it feels like it missed the memo that dinosaurs went extinct. These guys can grow over 10 feet long and weigh more than 400 pounds, making them one of the largest freshwater fish on the planet. But it's not just their size that makes them terrifying. Arapaimas breathe air like us, so every 15 minutes they have to surface, which has led to countless jump scares for fishermen, when basically a giant armored missile suddenly explodes out of the river. Even scarier, when threatened, arapaimas can smash into boats with knockout force, literally hitting hard enough to break bones or knock people unconscious, which has actually happened several times before. So locals treat them with respect, and for good reason. This monstrosity is basically a living fossil with the personality of a battering ram, and it doesn't care who gets in its way. Last, but definitely not least, we've got the Goliath grouper. A fish so ridiculously massive, it seems like God forgot to add a growth limiter to them. These underwater giants can hit 800 pounds and stretch over 8 feet long. Now, most fish that size might just cruise around minding their business. Not the Goliath. These guys will straight up stalk divers, hover inches away, and then suddenly inhale your catch like a living vacuum cleaner. Their mouths are so big that entire sharks and stingrays have been documented disappearing down the hatch. What makes them extra unnerving is how bold they are. Fishermen regularly lose hooked fish to a Goliath swooping in and swallowing the whole thing like it was an appetizer. Divers have even been body checked by them out of nowhere. The Goliath grouper doesn't chase you. It just waits, stares, and then swallows your lunch, your fish, or possibly you if you fit. It's the ocean's heavyweight thug, and it doesn't give a single damn what you are, as long as you're tasty. Anyways, that's all I got for today. If you enjoyed it, I'm sure you'll enjoy some of the others on screen as well, and hopefully, I'll see you Wednesday.